I think we can start. We're already 3 minutes in, so we can start. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this weekly Falco Community call. Please, if you already haven't done it, remember to write your name under the who joined the session in the HMD. I will share the HMD on the Zoom chat. Remember that during this call, the sensitive code of conduct applies, so please be kind to everyone else. Last but not least, this call is being recorded, so if you don't want to be recorded, please remember to turn your camera off. So there are no highlights this week. We did nothing. Okay, nice. So let's go to the agenda. Let's go to the agenda, and I am the first. I wasn't the first.
Fede, wait. I think Luca's on a light.
Yeah, just to remark.
Okay.
There were a lot of things happening last week, as you highlighted on Friday, of course. But maybe some people weren't aware there was a patch release. A patch release that happened for Falco. This one fixed a couple bugs that were brought to maintainers' attention by the community. One was a crash in the eBPF probe if CPUs were switched off, and the other was a crash loop back off in gvisor on Kubernetes environments, on some Kubernetes environments. So, well, the week highlight is a tiny Falco patch release. And also I want to remark how easy it was. I was the release manager this time, and I wanted to remark how easy it was to release it, because actually we had release branches, we had the right tags already set up. We didn't have to update any drivers or kernel modules. We only had easy user space modifications, and it was really a breeze. Thanks a lot to everyone for the effort put into having a sane versioning scheme for the libs.
Oh, thank you. I forgot about that actually. So I am the first item in the agenda, or I own the first item in the agenda. So as you might know, we're just here to tell you that given we are nearing the next Falco release that is expected to land the end of January, we want to be able to tag drivers and libraries right before Christmas. Around it, our date for now is I can't remember, 20th of December, 16th of December. So in let's say a week or so, we are going to freeze the libs repo and branch the release branch. We will test it in Falco. We will bump and test it in Falco, and following our release MD, release document, we will probably give the libs tow around 5-6 days later. So expect master to be once again in a mergeable state right around I don't know, the 9 of December or so. So we are going to only accept let's say bug fix in master for the next 10 days or so. That's it from me. Next point to Thomas.
Yeah, maybe you already know, but currently we have the AWS reInvent at Las Vegas, and Amazon just announced yesterday a new service called AWS or Amazon Security Lake. Basically, this is a data lake for security events from Amazon services like CloudTrail, CloudWatch, load balancers, and so. And we can also create custom sources. It was under NDA till yesterday, but Falco through Falco Psychic is one of the first open source for this new securities data lake. So the PR is still there because I need to do new tests. Now the service is available for everybody. But basically, it was nice to have Falco logo on the slides for the keynote at Las Vegas. It shows to people Falco is there.
Yeah, very cool.
Did you publish the blog?
Yeah, we published a blog post about the integration between Falco Psychic, and Amazon services. It's a summary about all outputs we have in Falco Psychic to some Amazon services, and the link between Falco itself with Amazon. Like, we have specific ECR repositories for the images. Falco works really well on EKS clusters, especially now with the kernel crawler, to match as much as possible different versions of EKS. The blog post is there. We'll put it in the HackMD right after, but it has been released this morning. More for me, so a few hours ago.
Yeah, I just dropped it in the Zoom chat, and then I'll also drop it in the Falco channel and do some social media tweetings.
Thank you. Thank you. Really, really cool. Yeah, thanks. And the next is from Thomas. Well,
yeah, it's just to say, people, I would like to release a new version of Falco Psychic next week. It's a really big one with a lot of new features, a lot of bug fixes. I think it brings 8 or 9 new outputs. So it's a tough one, to be honest. We'll have a lot to do before, but I hope to have it before next week, before end of next week.
Nice, nice. Thank you. To the next point, Luca and Massimiliano.
Thank you, Fede. So thanks a lot also for Max for being here today as well, because I'm really excited and I would like to start thinking about and working on improving supply chain security, let's say, as a whole of the Falco project. Now, it's not a surprise to everyone that I am the one that bothers everyone about security yet another time, but I think there are some parts, some themes that and some features and things that we can do to really improve our posture as a Falco security project in various regards. For example, what I can think of is, first of all, signing, as there's been a lot of developments in signatures within the CNCF and the broader open source ecosystem. So there are ways that I'm personally not super let's say experienced in, but for example, I'm sure that Max knows more, and we all want to learn more and to apply them to ensure the security and the proper signatures of all the artifacts that we distribute with Falco, that now are quite a lot. Then another big the big thing that I'm passionate about is, for example, everything that's related to the software composition of our own projects. So that's regarding as maybe some work necessary to perhaps build an SBOM of everything that we distribute, since we don't have it, and also to make sure that the image that Falco distributes and all the artifacts can be analyzed and can be independently verified. This combines signatures and SBOM and everything that is in between. For example, if you have tried to run a software composition analysis tool on the Falco image, it's going to alert to give you hundreds, maybe more than hundreds of alerts, because it thinks that the compilers that we have installed in the image are actually dangerous components that have vulnerabilities and this sort of things. This is actually not true, but there are components that could be vulnerable in our image, and those components are actually not identified by software composition analysis because they are statically linked and it's not possible to identify for them. Now, currently, I am the one that makes sure at every release, along with other maintainers, that the versions don't have critical vulnerabilities, so we can be secure. But I believe we can do much better. Also, Max had a lot of thought about this project. What do you think?
Yeah, that's so true. I think that I agree on all of that. We need to consistently across all the organization make some decisions on the supply chain. Besides the signing of the artifacts, also the S-bombs, as you already mentioned, so attestations and so on. So I saw that some work has been already done for signatures of artifacts. For example, I saw that the binaries of Falco Cyclic, if I remember correctly, are already signed with the co-signed, and this is good. And we need, I think, a set of consistent decision across all the organizations. So if you're thinking about all the artifact that Falco CTL could in the future verify, and not signing, I think, as we discussed on the related issue. But for sure, I think that the verification should be that his responsibility. So, yeah.
Thomas?
Do you want to just focus yourself on security aspects? Because we see more and more with the global CI we have through all repositories, we have so much differences between one repository to another. It creates a lot of pain to debug, to be honest, because we have so much different ways to build the artifacts, to push them into some repositories. I thought, because we discussed about that with Leo sometimes, we also need to refactor all CI we have for all repositories to have a global way to do for all aspects. For example, except Falco and libs, which are in C++ mainly, we also have a lot of Go for the plugins, for Falco Cyclic, for Falco Cyclic UI, and all these three technologies, for their basements, they have the same code base, not the same code, but the same languages, but we are using different methods to publish and compile. It's a pain. Even for me, with only 2 projects, it's a pain to debug each time because I forget.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I think that security-wise, when we get to signatures, for example, we should definitely have one way of signing, so that you can, if I download an official Falco artifact, as a security conscious user, I need to have one way, one key, or one central location where I can find everything I need to verify that signature to make sure that this is an official Falco artifact. Because if we start having 5 different ways of doing this, of course, everyone is going to be confused. Maybe Falco CTL does one thing, and maybe Falco Sidekick is signed another way. And we definitely, I think we do need a working group also to address this across several repositories. In terms of CI itself, I'm not familiar with all the CIs. And on one side, I would say that every project has a little bit of a different different requirements in terms of CI. So I can see why in some cases the CIs are so different. Of course, as you mentioned, Falco and libs have something that is unique to them. They need to do crazy things with loading kernel modules and running integration tests and all these things that cannot be unified, of course, and should not be unified. But there may be similarities in our Go CIs that we can work on. Surely enough, in terms of signatures, since we have only a few things that are signed, one goal here would be to have definitely a consistent infrastructure and consistent security properties across at least the official repositories. And then later, everything that we can put on top can use the same mechanism, the same keys, the same way of signing everything. Hope that answers that, but I definitely see your pain.
Yeah, we discussed to drop out Circle CI because we faced so many limitations with it. And we mentioned to maybe use GitHub Actions, but if we use GitHub Actions, it will be easy for all Golang projects to reuse the same, I don't know, the action, I don't know the exact name for modular aspects of GitHub Action, but we could set up that in a specific repository like we have for different things, like for the issues, we have templates for the fields, for the tags and labels. And we could also have this for actions and just import it in all Go projects, Falco CTL, Falco Psychic, the plugins, and so on. It could be useful for everybody.
If I can jump in here, like this is probably part of a much broader discussion, because which probably involves the whole infrastructure. If I can give some context on why we are doing this, is that mostly we are, in the general case, caring about where the secrets are, which is like a big concern already. And second point is we are running after mostly free tiers offered to open source projects about all these services, right? So Circle CI is doing this so far for us. We also got in touch with the CNCF about like understanding what's in their power about providing, some machines to actually run. Because if we get into GitHub Actions, for example, excluding the secrets problem that I mentioned before, there will also be a matter of we will be restricted to the public runners that they provide for free, which is not enough for us, especially since we started building for ARM architecture, right? Because there's no native runner in GitHub Action, so which actually Circle CI offers in the free tier. So there are plenty of problems involved, and I see probably a working group working on that in the future as well. But I can say probably this thing about security can start definitely before. Oh, Mauro, for real? GitHub Action for ARM64 is in beta?
Yes, it is. I don't know when it's releasing, but it is in beta.
Oh, this is
is
it Christmas already?
Yeah.
Is it already viable for projects?
Don't trust us.
Because
I have no idea.
I joined the developer program for the Falco Security Organization, so we can get beta features, but I have not received anything regarding GitHub Action yet.
To give you a measure, the Falco libraries build in QEMU on GitHub Actions runner in about 5 hours ish. So it is, especially when it fails and you have to rerun it manually. So this is good news, but in general, this is a big effort. We need to tackle this in the future as well. Thank you for pointing this out, Toma. But yeah, great discussion, Luca and Max. I'm looking forward to see this happening.
Thank you, Jason.
I
believe
Jason.
there's two big things here: supply chain security, and of course the signatures and everything, and CI work. I believe CI work is a big topic on its own that is going to get a lot of attention in the next first half of the next year, I believe, because there is pain in both worlds, and we wish in the first half of the next year, at least what I have in mind, we wish to address some of that.
Thank you very much. So the next point is from Vicente.
Hey.
Okay.
I'll try to make it short. Yes, wanted to say that I've been sending some changes to the documentation. You can see some visual changes on it, but there are a few pull requests that are quite big, and I would like to have some feedback from you on those. They are mostly related to rules, the rules section that we have in the documentation. So I have refactored that a little bit, trying to make the section smaller, a bit more easy to follow, and trying to keep the branch lighter. Because one of the problems I found before was that people didn't know where to look for content, and it was because the branch had a lot of content. So keeping the content in the leaves is, well, like the pages of a book, right? You don't go to the title just to find all the content. You just go to the chapter. And there are a few pull requests with work in progress labels. So if you could have some time, I would really appreciate some feedback on it. And also the alerts, I consider it ready from my side, so that's why I removed the work in progress. But yeah, I did the same. I moved a section inside, a page inside the section. So feel free to comment on that. If you don't like something I did, we can revert it. So the idea is that it's good for newcomers, and it's much easier to find stuff if you don't know the web by heart, as probably most of you already do, right? That was it.
Thank you, Vicente.
Thank you,
Last
Vicente.
point is Leo. That is a bright proposals.
No, it's okay. I was just saying to Vicente that I will take a look to his pull request as soon as I can, but I'm a bit overwhelmed in the spirit. Anyway,
thank you.
Regarding my point, this is still a work in progress, but early feedback is appreciated. Basically, I'm writing down an artifact distribution proposal. It's I say again, it's still a whip. The main point inside this proposal are making official that we want to distribute artifact via OCI repository, OCI registry, sorry. This is something that Helm is already doing with charts, because the OCI distribution spec is not limited to contain an image, but it can potentially distribute on any kind of artifact. The second most relevant point is make Falco Cattle an official tool for managing Falco artifact. And for Falco artifact, I mean plugins, rules, but also drivers. It would be really nice if one day we can get rid of our very huge batch script called the Falco driver loader and use Falco Cattle instead. And another important point is if we want to be sure that every time a CV is out, we will be able to publish rules in a very, I would say, timely manner. I mean, it makes no sense to publish the log4j rules 4 months after the thing happened. So another point of this proposal is basically put the rules out from the Falco repositories, version it with their own version number, and publish them, release them, distribute them as soon as is needed. So, for example, if we have a new rules the day after a big CV is out, having a different repository allows us to publish it immediately, and via Falco Cattle, our user can consume it very soon. This is very briefly the content of the proposal. I repeat again, it's a whip. I just want early feedback. I would really appreciate that. That's it.
You convinced me already when I read deprecating the Falco driver loader.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything more. I just need that.
Yeah, I know. Of course, I put some action items. Not all of them will happen very soon because deprecating Falco driver loader, I believe it requires a lot of time, but definitely we have to start from something.
Andrea is already working on that.
Yeah, sure.
in the sense is deleting each line of the script.
Yeah, I delete only line, no other.
For one, I'm very happy if I can deprecate massive bash scripts that are hard to maintain, hard to work with. I know that some people love bash, and I use it every day as my shell, but my brain cannot work very well with scripts, with big scripts.
Yeah. Jokes aside, there are really important reasons for doing that. For example, it's becoming harder and harder to match the exact distribution string computed by the script with the one we have in our it's becoming really, really hard. And for sure, something I would say a bit smarter, like some Go code would help a lot on that.
Yes.
If I can ask, like, will this be helpful for libs consumers only as well? Because, like, if I remember, there's Fred and Terrell that basically duplicated the driver loader for like libs only purposes, which is not optimal because every time we change it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I assume this will be a libs driver loader at the end of the day for everyone to use, right?
For sure. Another advantage, in my opinion, to have a Golang program is also that we can also just expose packages, and every consumer could just extend our package and implement their own tool, or they can just use our tool as is. So definitely, yes.
For the same exact same reason, we could also use the driver kit public packages and build directly through them, because the Falco driver loader image has the issue that only ships GCC 8, I guess, that is very old and it's not able to build any more newest drivers, newest kernels.
Yeah.
So we will fix that hopefully.
And I believe that it's not necessary there, but I'm seeing tools like Falco CTL becoming kind of a bit of a Swiss Army knife for doing this kind of work. So this could be a candidate for putting this kind of logic, and it's called Falco, but actually could be used by any library consumer. For example, now it can download plugins, and every libs consumer can use plugins. So there is a deal of shared code that is already there, and also this connects with what I was telling before about the mess that is the base Falco image that has that script and that GCC and all that stuff, and I see that getting fixed, and I think it's time to plan on fixing that. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Leonardo. Thanks, Fede.
Thank you a lot to you, because I'm just writing down the proposal. You are working on Falco, so I have to say thank you to you and Lorenzo and any other folks is helping with the project.
So it seems like the agenda is now empty. Is there anything else relevant to be discussed?
Leo, I don't know if you want to do a quick graduation update.
Oh yes, very quickly. Some of us are working on a draft of the due diligence document for the graduation. Specifically, I, Jason, Luca, and Jackie. I will share the document, I believe, tomorrow, after tomorrow, with all the maintainers, and probably with the TOC sponsor. Currently is as draft. I haven't shared it before, just because currently is in a I would say non-consistent state. Okay, it's just we copied the template, and there are a lot of parts that need to move. And after that, another point that is needed for the graduation is we have to provide a list of adopters to be interviewed by the TOC. The member of the TOC. I don't know how many already accepted. Jackie is working on that, but I believe that we still miss some adopters. So if there are any adopter willing to be interviewed by the TOC member, please contact us.
Yeah, so at the moment we have 9, but there's 3. One that potentially might not work out, and then there's 2 that aren't end users. So we have folks, but we're looking for some more, fallbacks just in case.
Yeah. So basically, if you know anyone that use Falco in production, just make us in contact with them. That's the point.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
So here we are at the final question. Is anyone wanting to volunteer as MC for the next community call? Nobody. Okay, feel free to volunteer on the Falco channel during the next week. So thank you for joining. What? I heard something.
Sorry, but my fault.
Okay. No, thank you for joining. See you next week.
See you.
Bye bye.
See you, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.